Welcome back to Backward Point. This is episode number 18. We are doing a review of the third Ashes test alongside doing a preview of the Pakistan versus Sri Lanka test match series that is set to start in a few days. Joining me from Karachi is my brother and my co-host.
No, so you're reporting for duty in the early mornings of Karachi, set to talk about test match cricket because it's well alive and ready to go, man.
You know, tis the season of test cricket.
Tis the season, truly.
Just right before we're flooded with all the white ball cricket that's going to come in the coming months with the Asia Cup and the World Cup and all the series to prep up for the World Cup, we have some test matches coming along. Did you watch the third Ashes test that happened at Headingley? What did you think of it? Initial thoughts, and then we'll do a deep dive because I thought it was a fantastic match.
I watched not ball to ball, but session to session. I was following along. It was a very important test match for Australia to win, to seal the series. And it was an even more important test match for England to win, to stay alive in the series. And it was actually quite interesting the way that the rollout for Threads, the Twitter competitor for Instagram, came right before the third test match. Everybody was going wild on it. I thought it was a very competitive match. I thought England were just a little bit ahead of Australia in this test match, and that's actually all it takes right now in these really tight competitive games to get the edge over the opponent. I feel like this is exactly what England was kind of missing in the previous two test matches, which were extremely close themselves, especially the first one was very, very close. The test race is 2-1. Still, Australia has a leading edge. That's what Pat Cummins said in the post match press conference. He's like, I'm not even a little bit worried. It's 2-1 up. I know the prime ministers are having a laugh at it. They're having a great kick out of this whole entire situation. I think this is the most involved test match series, the most involved Ashes that I've seen in a very long time. From the fan side, from the celebrity side, I feel like Piers Morgan is doing a nightly episode on the Ashes, it seems, and he's trying to promote the game in America as well. So I respect that. Probably the only thing I respect about Piers Morgan right now. And yeah, it's a very competitive series. It's an inches by inches win from both sides. I'm glad that the Ashes are alive. I'm glad that that England went over and took this one in their stride, and they're 2-1. And then the fourth test match is going to be a knocker, man.
You know, you made a great point about how close this series has been. It really has been a game of inches and close margins. The first match, Australia won by just 2 wickets. The second match, Australia won by just 43 runs. And then England won this match by 3 wickets. So all 3 of those games could have swung either way. I think Australia did play better consistently. But a session here, a session there, and who knows? This could have been England 3-0 up, but nonetheless, 2-1 isn't bad, and they still have an opportunity to make a comeback. I'm wondering if they can pull out, if Ben Stokes' team can pull a LeBron James and come back from a 2-0 deficit and win the Ashes 3-2. I think that would be legendary. That would go in the history books of this baseball team that is perhaps changing the way Test cricket is viewed, watched. And you also mentioned how gripping this series has been. People in England have listened to many podcasts, and they are talking about how this is the most gripping Ashes series since the one in 2005, the iconic series, where we saw so many moments happen in front of us. So great to see all the celebrities you mentioned. Stephen Fry and Hugh Grant Hugh Laurie, the guy from House, Dr. House.
Yeah.
They were both at Lord's watching the second test. I think anytime there's a game at Lord's, that's just a place to be. But yeah, just coming back to this match and how
I also think because
of
where Lord's is situated, it's in literally central London. People will be remiss to not go and see an Ashes match in person. A lot of people were there. A lot of celebrities were there. I saw that. Yeah, man, it was just great. I would love to see Hugh Grant at a test match, though. I feel like that's the most English thing you can see is Hugh Grant, who is the most English actor out there, at an Ashes match. But Hugh Laurie will do as well. We love Hugh Laurie. We love Stuart Little's dad here on the podcast. Big fans of Stuart Little. So yeah, man, bring on the celebrities. The more celebrities come, the more awareness we get. It's already a packed house every single day. Everybody's there like to the brim. So it's always lovely to see that. And I love how the Ashes have sort of brought just the cricketing community in general together. And for me personally, it's just nice to see India not in the news and cricket still being talked about. I think that's very important as well as a fan of neutrality and cricket. I think more of that, please.
I mean, India's game just started today, so I don't think it's going to be too long where they're back in the news. But this is still two of the big three playing Test cricket in one of the biggest series that is anticipated year over year. So I
Yeah,
mean,
India's game just started today. Like
match.
I'm not even a little bit surprised because hey,
Yeah.
BCCI, ACC, do the math.
Is the
Let's
difference
start.
just one.
Yeah, let's break the
Okay.
series down. Break this match down, bro.
I think some interesting stuff that came out just going into the match itself was that Jimmy Anderson and Josh Tong were left out, and Chris Wokes and Mark Wood came in, whereas in Australia, Cam Green and Nathan Lyon were out. Mitchell Marsh and Todd Murphy came back into the team. So a few shuffling around, some fresh legs back into the team. The first innings for Australia, Stuart Broad gets David Warner yet again for the 17th time. This is such a record. You talk about bunnies in Test cricket and Warner and Broad. I feel like it's become a psychological thing. The record for getting one player out the most times by one bowler is from Glenn McGrath. He has gotten, I think, Michael Atherton 19 times, and Michael Atherton is on that list of bunnies about 2 or 3 times because he's been out from Curtly Ambrose and Courtney Walsh. So and then comes David Warner against Stuart Broad. So it's just a crazy battle. I feel like it has become a mental thing about how many times it's been talked about in the media. And I just watched a video last night on Facebook where it was a collection of all 17 dismissals, and it's literally the same thing. He swings it outside off stump, he nicks it out, either the ball nips back in, he gets bowled, LBW. And at this point, it's just funny to see. Like, it's just, I'm just watching the Broad versus Warner. It's almost as exciting as a Shaheen Afridi first over. Your thoughts on David Warner being the bunny of Stuart Broad?
Bro, it reminds me of Mohammad Hafiz and Dale Steyn when he had that horrible series in South Africa. Oh my god, it was just too much to watch. And Mohammad Hafiz is a class act, so is David Warner. But you know who I feel extremely sorry for is Mikey Atherton, being 3 times on that list. Courtney Walsh, Glenn McGrath, and who's the third one? Curtly Ambrose.
Walsh.
Curtly Ambrose.
Yes.
Oh my god, like that's, I feel so bad for Michael Atherton. I remember
And
when
he was
they brought
commentating on that too.
exactly, they brought the stat up, and Mikey is like, "Yo, I don't even know what to say at this point." And they were really ripping him hard on that one. Sucks to be Michael Atherton, but not really. He's like, personally speaking, as far as cricket journalism goes, I feel like Mikey Atherton has become one of my favorite cricket journalists. His duo with Nasir Hussain is just fun to watch, especially when they came to Pakistan last year. It was just them doing their documentary and stuff is great. His documentary on Imran Khan is also really good. So I urge people to check that out. But David Warner has just been having a really bad series, isn't he? Like, he is a class act. I know he's announced that his series in Pakistan late in the winter for us, summer for the Aussies will be his last series as in Test match cricket. But I genuinely want to know if there is a conversation to have David Warner set out the 4th Test, because he's just been from the top order. He's not clicking, man. It's not happening for him. Stuart Broad sort of has him figured out. 4th, 5th stump, bring it in. And it'll nip back or it'll keep going forward, and either it'll plumb him on the leg or second slip will be in play. So I mean, it's almost like a replay. All 17 of his dismissals. I would love to see literally like a montage of all 17 of them, and I want to see how many times he's been out like that, the way that I just described. He's still one of the greatest openers that Australia has seen, no doubt about that. David Warner, Australia has a lot to credit for a lot of their successes to David Warner. But that being said, there are definitely questions on how he's batting right now. It just seems like he's a little bit out of nick. Could be the old age, could be just wear and tear. The Ashes is a gruesome series. It doesn't leave anybody behind. But I've noticed that this series has sort of, I don't want to use the word exposed, but no other word is coming in my mind. It's sort of exposed the ages of certain legends of the game. Jimmy Anderson being one of them, David Warner being another one of them. It just seems like at the same time as people are sort of being exposed for their age and their just a little bit slowness on the cricket pitch, other players like Stuart Broad and Usman Khwaja are just thriving. So it's a very interesting, back and forth. But yeah, Davey Warner 17 times. Let's go 18, baby. Let's go 18. I predict it'll be 20. If David Warner plays the entire series, I bet it'll be 20. I think Michael Atherton's record will be broken by David Warner. I think Michael Atherton will be very, very happy about that.
You called it here on this podcast, Backward Point.
Yeah.
David Warner to get out more than 19 times against Stuart Broad.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a possibility. What seems like a tough possibility is for David Warner to get through to the Sydney Test against Pakistan later this year. If his bad form continues, I think Australia will look to replace him. They do have Marcus Harris on the bench, somebody who can be a like-for-like replacement. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see next week what happens when Australia announce their playing 11 for the fourth test. A player who came back into the team who made a significant, massive, immediate impact, perhaps the most exciting player that I've seen in this series so far, and perhaps in world cricket at the moment, Mark Wood. Played his first test match this year, his first international match since March, and his first spell against England in this match was the fastest recorded in England since Brett Lee in 2005. He clocked upwards of 96.5 miles an hour. I saw his spell, the delivery to Usman Khwaja, the setup for the 4 balls before that. Just classic express pace bowling. Almost took me back to the time of when Shoaib Akhtar used to play. Shoaib Akhtar, Waqar Yunus, all these guys were, known for cleaning up the tail, and that's exactly what Mark Wood did here. Australia at one point were 240 for 5, and he came back into the attack, and he cleaned up the tail, 263 all out for Australia, and I just thought that was hostile bowling, to say the least.
Man, I'll tell you how I know that bowling was remarkable. My wife, who does not give any crap about cricket, asked me who Mark Wood was because it showed up on her Explore page. That's how expressive it was. That's how much traction it was getting. That's how many people were talking about it. And it's just like, I was so happy to see that, because on bouncy pitches, on green top surfaces in England, especially the Headingley pitch, you couldn't differentiate between the grass and the pitch like the first couple of days. Seeing an express pace bowler that's hitting consistently 95 miles an hour was just a delight. It was like, I was scared as a batsman to be like, oh my god, I couldn't even see these type of bowlings when I'm playing on the nets here. And I don't even play 90 miles per hour. I play like 75, 80, max 80. I'm like talking about 80 of like as if like it's my 100 miles. And these guys, these professionals out there are trying to cover drive a 95 miler from Mark Wood. It's insane. And just to see him make a comeback, he was filling in for Jimmy Anderson. Those are big, huge shoes to fill. He just came in, took it in stride, took a fifer in the first innings. Is basically immediate impact. That's what that kind of player he is, right? Even when he toured Pakistan, I don't remember how many matches he played, but there was a talk about Mark Wood being in the squad. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? There was a fearsome element to it, as there was for Brett Lee, as there was for Shoaib Akhtar back in the day. Not for Balaji because he sucks, but I just thought he'd throw it there. Balaji also being a very prominent Indian Test cricketer, played for a long time. But this is the type of bowling that we had back in the mid 2000s, where just these types of roller coaster bowling was being on display, and Mark Wood took us back to that kind of bowling. He was maybe the difference between England and Australia in the third Test match. He won the man of the match and he won man of the match for his bowling, but we can't also discredit his blistering cameos that he played lower order in the lower end. He was just like in it to win it. He was like, I'm not gonna go out of
Bro,
here
he
without
scored
a win.
24 off 8 in the first innings, and that just helped propel England's score forward because they were looking at a pretty significant deficit. And despite the outfield being really quick at Headingley, I thought they like not enough runs were being scored by both teams, and I guess that was because the pitch was a bit supportive to seamers and it was moving around. But yeah, I think he batted exactly the way he bowled, like just a blistering, came in and made an immediate impact. I think he smashed Stark for a couple of sixes and for a boundary, like had fearless batting, fearless
Yeah,
approach. That's exactly what baseball is about.
completely, and that's what I'm saying. Like it was the game changer, and the first innings as well. The second innings, he was there till the finish. I think that was kind of a poetic in a way. It was some poetic justice there. He was there with Chris Wilkes in the finish, and they sealed the deal for England. It was great to see. I cannot wait to see him shine more. I think the fourth Test match is in Trent Bridge,
It's at in Old Trafford, Manchester.
Old Trafford. Great. That's his. Is that his home ground as well?
No, so he's from Durham. And
Oh, okay.
this is Jimmy Anderson's home ground. This is Manchester. We might actually be seeing Jimmy Anderson bowl from the Jimmy Anderson end.
Is that going to happen? You think he's going to be
Series.
back in the? Is he going to be back in the squad?
Absolutely, 100%. Because Ollie Robinson, I think, is injured. He has
Oh,
a
okay.
back spasm, so just Jimmy Anderson is. Why not? Why would you not give him an opportunity to make a comeback at his home ground where he's played all of his life? So it's a no brainer to have Jimmy back. He's had a rest of 10 days.
Yeah.
He'll be back fresh, eager to contribute. I just listened to his podcast, Tailenders, and he
Good
was
podcast.
edging to get back on the ground. Great podcast. He
Yeah.
was edging to be back on the ground to make an impact in the series, to help close out the deficit for England in the series and come back and win this series.
Yeah, so I would love to see Jimmy back. Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, and Mark Wood, and Chris Wilkes as the starting four. That's insane, bro. That's insane.
Yeah.
I'd be fearsome if
Yeah.
I was an Australian opener, especially if I was Davey Warner.
Yep. I mean, speaking of players who came back into the team and made an immediate impact, Mitchell Marsh was playing his first test since 2019, that Ashes series 4 years ago, and he came in to fill in the boots for Cameron Green, who was out injured, tight hamstring, so couldn't play. Mitch Marsh comes in, scores the second fastest 100 by an Australian on English soil, I believe, and just the way he was taking on Mark Wood, Chris Wilkes. Mark Wood was bowling bullets, and just for him to hit pull shots for 6 against Mark Wood, that to me was like, that's the Mitchell Marsh approach. Like, that was fearless. I saw his brother and family was celebrating. His brother Sean Marsh was celebrating his birthday in Bali, and they recorded the moment where they reacted to Mitch Marsh getting to his 100. A dream start. You think of making a comeback, you think of playing against England in Ashes series, but for him to come back and score 100 and make an immediate impact was probably what dreams are made for. He came to bat when Australia were 85 for 4, and he helped take the score forward to 263. So I think also great contribution from him, but just I guess not enough in the end when you speak of the end result.
Yeah, you're right about that. Mitch Marsh's comeback is also quite fairy tale. You're sort of in a cricketing family. Your father's a Test cricketer. Your brother's a Test cricketer. There's a lot on your shoulders when that's sort of the standard that you have to play with. Also, not to like discredit him, he did play the 2019 Ashes series. Like he's a good batsman. It's just that it's hard, man. The Australian cricket team is so competitive and they take their cricket so seriously that if you are not on your A game all the time, then you don't have a place. You don't have a place in the squad. So it was nice to see him make a comeback great innings, man. Like batting with the middle lower order and then with the tail, he really showed his character. He really showed that he's there to make an impact. And literally, like from 84 to 5, you said they were at.
Yeah.
Yeah, from 84 to 5, he brought them to a good first innings total. Respects to that. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's just a nice, wholesome moment. You hardly get to see that in the Ashes, which has been fierce and lots of back and forth between the players. It's just like a good comeback story. I love to see it.
Second innings for England. England were having a major collapse where Ben Stokes came in to the rescue and scored 80 off 108 balls, 6 almost gave me vibes of 2019 Headingley, where he played that magnificent innings, perhaps one of the greatest innings in Test match cricket history. Um, and for him to, keep going at the bowlers, keep attacking them, clearing the fence, and just to hear the crowd's reaction really gave me 2019 Headingley vibes. Lots of nostalgia came back from that innings because that's one of my favorite innings of all time that I've ever seen, and I oftentimes do go back, rewatch it, and it never fails to give me goosebumps. But yeah, that knock from Ben Stokes, he's now the second leading run scorer of this Ashes series and captain leading from the front and showing the players how it's done.
And he's not even at
Australia,
100%
yeah.
right now, right? He's not even at 100%.
Yeah, imagine Ben Stokes fully fit and also bowling. He's oftentimes saved the game for England with his bowling. He just bowls these crazy um, 10, 12 over spells where he's just going at the batsman consistently with with the aim of getting their wicket all the time. Bouncers, Yorkers, reverse swing. He is an incredible player to have, and someone who's changing the way England cricket's plays cricket in general.
You know what? I was actually watching the 2018 test match. I think it was the fourth test match where Broad took the insane 7 for 12 or 7 for 15. Like
It's
insane.
2015, I believe.
No. It was 2018. Maybe it was 2015. Actually, you're right.
2015, yeah.
Because
This was when Michael Clark was their captain.
exactly. And he just took
Yeah.
he just crossed 300 in that test match. There was a catch that Ben Stokes takes on like fifth slip, one handed on to his jumping to his right. Insane. And it's actually like funny because I couldn't recognize Ben Stokes until the commentator said Stokes takes a blinder, and I'm like, whoa, that's Stokes. There is no beard. He's wearing a hat, completely pale. Insane, but like he's been an impact player since then, and we're almost like 10 years into his career, and we're just like, this man just keeps on giving because he's relentless. You're right. If he was bowling right now as well, his 10 to 12 over spells are just insane. His 80 in the first innings was also the difference between England actually, clearing up the deficit and just leaving 23 or 24 odd on the board so that Australia could start from there. But man, he's been the attacking captain that England has needed for a very long time. And I think he's really living up to his name. Him and Brendan McCullum are living up to their name and actually like making a difference as when it comes to impact players. He's there. The game isn't ended until he's out.
Yeah. England were chasing 251 in their second innings, and something that was very shocking to everybody to see was for Moeen Ali to ask Brendan McCullum to make him bat at number 3 so he can safeguard Harry Brook, who was a young player who was playing at number 3 in the first inning, but he flopped. It's tough to play the moving ball when you're more of a lower order player. And with Ollie Pope out, Harry Brook was given the responsibility to fill in the number 3 spot. But for Moeen Ali to come back into this match first and bowl really well to begin with, and to then volunteer to come at number 3, sacrifice himself and put himself into a position where he wants to take one for the team. And for that, despite that not working, it did give Harry Brook the chance to come at number 5, play his natural game. He scored a quick fire 75, just looked really tough to get out. And then, despite England getting scores, they just kept losing wickets in intervals, and they needed ultimately like 80 runs in the last 4 wickets. And Chris Wokes came in, played a blinder of a knock, almost gave me vibes of what happened in 2020 when Pakistan went to England and Chris Woakes top scored in the fourth innings to chase down a score that Pakistan should have defended easily. But poor captaincy and bad bowling led Pakistan to lose that test match. So Chris Woakes again back into the side, contributing with the bat and showing why a lower order batsman is so important when you have a long tail. Players like Chris Woakes and Mark Wood can chip in, and that can ultimately make the difference between winning or losing a test match.
Firstly, how dare you disrespect the name of Babar Azam the Great? You should be ashamed of yourself.
It was
Secondly,
Azhar Ali who was captain, by the way. That time.
then
It
I'm fine.
wasn't
Then I'm
Babar
fine.
Azam.
Then I'm totally okay with that. As early, I don't mind.
Wait, you're okay with me disrespecting Azhar Ali?
I'm okay with as early.
He has more hundreds, more test matches, more test runs than Babar Azam. Come on.
Yeah, but he also dropped Virat Kohli on second slip. So what do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to do?
That's so important for Amir's legacy. He got Kohli out twice in 2 balls.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about that yesterday because somebody told me like I think Mohammad Amir is eligible to play the IPL next year, and the person was like, "You think he's gonna go?" I'm like, "100% he's gonna go." This man is like dying to play the IPL, and there's gonna be a lot of hype, and he's probably gonna go platinum. So yeah, I mean, but we're losing our train of thought here. I want to say Moeen Ali coming at number 3. I feel like that's a very, very important decision just in the context of the game because he comes at number 3. He takes a few overs and stays on the pitch, gets the ball a little bit older, and Harry Brook comes at 5 and just steals the match away from Australia. Because if it was reversed, I don't think Moeen Ali is going to make a surefire 75 and seal the game for England. Moeen Ali is a tactical player. He's an asset. But if I'm being honest, his role in the English cricket team is more like a mascot than it is actually contributing to anything. Like, okay, he takes a couple of wickets in the middle. He'll give you a good 10 overs.
He got Steve Smith and Marnus in the first innings.
Yes, but then what happened? Then he got knocked over all around the ground. Like, he got Stephen Marnus. Okay, fair enough. But is he playing as a bowler? Is he playing as a batsman? What is he like? What is his defining role? I find it so peculiar that Ben Stokes like shoots a Moeen Ali like a "you up" message at like 3 a.m. right before the Ashes is about to be announced, and is like, "Yo, you want to be in the team?" And Moeen Ali's like, "100%, bro. I'm taking back my retirement." Like, I actually want to ask Ben Stokes, does he actually think Moeen Ali is that much of an impact player? Like, I no hate against Moeen Ali, man. He's a World Cup winner. He's a T20I winner. He's an Ashes winner. Like, this guy is a champion. He's also Pakistani, so like kudos to him for getting over that hurdle. But it's just, I question this sometimes. Maybe it's a basketball tactic that I'm not really getting. But that being said, him playing at number 3 was very impactful because he basically was like, I'm going to be a throwaway wicket. I'm going to be there. I'm going to stay. I'm going to get the ball a little bit more older so that when the lower batsmen come in, they'll have more of a chance. And that's exactly what he did. I think he made like 5 off of 12 or 13. He was there for 5 or 6 overs. Yeah. He made sure that the ball just, was being knocked around here and there. It's just like, he just got a Jaffer, as they say. He just got a really good ball. I really do want to see a Moeen Ali innings in this test series where it's like a good surefire 50, 60, maybe a century that actually defines him as a player and sort of gives context to the whole decision of him being back in the squad.
Yeah, it's for him to be back in the squad. That was shocking to me too, because it's not like England did not have other options. Like, they have Will Jacks, they have Dom Best, they have Liam Dawson, all players who ball spin and bat pretty decently. So yeah, but shocking for me to see Moeen Ali to have been called back. Because I mean, although Test match cricket, you need some overs under your belt, you need some red ball experience, and he was just coming out of retirement, literally, off of an IPL, and so shocking for that. 2 more games to go for the Ashes. What do you think? England are they coming back, or is Australia winning the next one? What's going on?
I think the 4th one should go England's way just because of pure entertainment. Having a 5th Test match be a decider, it's going to be insane. It's going to be
off at the Oval.
It's going to be insane. People are going to lose their minds. The prime ministers are already involved. In the NATO meeting, I'm pretty sure you saw this. It's just great fun, man. It's just great fun. Everyone's talking about it. Like there's literally a buzz around Karachi and the cricketing community. I go play some cricket on the weekends in the mornings, some hardball cricket, and the kids are all talking about it. They want to bowl as fast as Mark Wood. They want to bat like Stevie Smith. Like it's great. It's crazy to see this. People always the argument will always remain if Test match cricket is dead. We've talked about this ad nauseum on this podcast. I don't think it's dead for the top 10 playing nations. I think they will keep on going. There's a whole other conversation to be had about Test match cricket being exported into the other cricketing nations, how we're doing about that, the BCCI, the ICC. But as it stands right now, these two teams they're making a good case for Test match cricket to be alive. And I gotta give credit to the ICC, whoever came up with the idea of the WTC. That's also helping because now you've actually made Test match cricket competitive. It's like a league. I am giving a shit about the Pakistan versus Sri Lanka Test match series, which we're going to talk about real soon. Like, it actually matters that Pakistan 2-0 them up. Not just for the legacy of Babar Azam as a captain, blah, 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 but as like, oh, we need those points that we can actually finish higher on the table in the top two so we can go play, a one-off final with somebody in England. So it's good to see Test match cricket really at its peak right now. I really want the 4 Test match to go England's way so we have a 5th match decider. It's going to be insane.
Same here. I want England to win the next one and maybe even the next one. Like, come back 2-0, win 3-2. That would be historic. People will be talking about that for years to come. But my inner thought is saying that Australia might just win this series 3-2. I don't know when the third win is going to be coming. Is it the next match or is it the last one? We'll have to wait and find out. But I also love talking about Ashes with you, and just covering this series. I've been having fun. I'm going to use this as a segue to talk about the next series, the preview of the Pakistan versus Sri Lanka 2-match test series. So Pakistan is playing 2 tests. The first test on the 16th in Galle, the second test in Colombo on the 24th. Pakistan last played a test match series in Sri Lanka last year on these same exact dates, and Pakistan had drawn the series. They won 1 match and they lost 1 match. The game they won was the famous game where Babar Azam scored a century with Naseem Shah on the other end on the last wicket. And it's also the game where Pakistan chased 342 runs in the 4th innings. Credits to a century, a 160 not out from Abdullah Shafiq, and contributions from Babar Azam and Rizwan in the middle. But they also lost the last game by 246 runs. There's been a lot of changes to the Pakistan squad. This is going part of the new cycle of the WTC. So like you mentioned before, these points are going to count towards determining whether Pakistan will eventually make it to the WTC final or not. I wanted to talk about some new faces into the team because it's a new WTC cycle. I think Babar Azam as captain wants to bring in some new players. There are some vacant spots in the team where he is looking to put in some new players. A player we briefly talked about last podcast was Mohammad Herrera. I've actually gone back and done some research on him and see why he is in the team, what performances has he made. So he has a first class average of 68. He has 800s, 850s, so you can see that he has a good conversion rate. Every time he gets to a 50, he tries to convert it into 100. He also has the highest score of 311, so he is the second youngest player to score a triple century in Pakistan's first-class cricket after Hanif Mohammad. And he is just 21 years old. So he's only going up from here. And provided he is in the Pakistan team now under the wing of Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan, I think he has a lot to learn from Babar Azam's work ethic, from how he goes about his game, and how he can use that to improve his own game and be amongst the likes of Babar Azam one day himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a big shift in the mood of Pakistani cricketers in the past 5 to 7 years. Ever since Babar Azam has taken the national stage and I would say the international stage, we're actually getting a class of batsmen coming in. Saim Ayub, Abdullah Shafiq, now Mohammad Herrera, all of these batsmen that look up to Babar Azam as their light and their guiding light, I should say. So it's very refreshing to see that in a country full of fast bowlers, we're actually producing some decent batsmen. Abdullah Shafiq, I feel like after Babar Azam is one of my favorite batsmen just to watch. Technically speaking, even his T20 innings in the PSL was very entertaining. I didn't even know that he had that gear in him to just go out there and be ballistic. But his Test match centuries, the way he bats, especially in South Asia, I don't think he's ever been to the NISA countries yet, but or SINA countries, I should say, NISA,
Sena.
SINA countries yet, but he's just an all around. He's just a dynamite player to watch. Not really clicking with the international T20s, as we've already talked about on this podcast before, 3 ducks in a row. But his test match averages, his test match techniques, you cannot doubt it. He is one of the shining players in Pakistan Test cricket right now. And I would love to see him branch off and sort of cross pollinate into other formats. But Abdullah Shafiq is one of my top 2 or 3 people to watch in this test series against Sri Lanka. Mohammad Huraira, what number will he bat on when he plays in? What do you think?
Yeah, so this is a big discussion. So from what I think, Pakistan's opening pair is set for now. They have Imam ul Haq and Abdullah Shafiq opening. Number 3 spot is where currently Shan Masood is playing, but he hasn't been performing at this number 3 slot. He's been given opportunities multiple times, but I don't think he's delivered as what is expected from him. So I think if Herrera does debut, he will play at number 3 just to fill in that spot. So I think, that's where he would go for a debut for Herrera in these conditions. This is also where Agha Salman Ali Agha debuted last year, and he's been a part of the Pakistan Test and ODI team since. So, despite this being a tough tour, conditions are sort of similar to Pakistan, where they're dry, they spin. And I think with a few practices and some sessions, he might be able to adapt to these conditions and play. But I just feel like first test match, I think Pakistan might go with Shan Masood there. We'll get to the playing 11, but before we get to that, we also saw Amir Jamal in the test squad for the first time. Before, we've seen Pakistan give a lot of opportunities to Fahim Ashraf, but now they're giving it to Amir Jamal, which I think is good for workload management for Fahim Ashraf, good to give domestic performers a chance in the national team. And I think Amir Jamal has shown that he's someone who has pace, who he can bowl quick spells. He's a proper bowler. We saw him defend that 15 odd runs against Moeen Ali back last year when they were preparing for the World T20.
Great over, by the way. Great final over.
He's also had a great tour for the Pakistan Shaheens in Zimbabwe, and just great first class performance to back himself up. I would like to see more of his batting to see if he has the potential to be a good, the Cameron Green of Pakistan, the Mitch Marsh for Pakistan, the Chris Wilkes for Pakistan. That void is still there. We've done a whole podcast about this for Pakistan finding the next fast bowling all-rounder since Abdul Razak's retirement. And Amir Jamal is somebody who can fill in that role, and I want to see him get chances. And also, just future looking, Pakistan is touring Australia at the end of this year. You want somebody who is a fast bowling all-rounder just to give you depth in batting and an extra bowling option. So if you're looking to prepare for that, this might be a good series to just smooth or get Amir Jamal into the test team, get him a test debut so he's not too nervous in Australia.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. Like every major national cricketing team who's trying to make an impact on is trying to make an impact on cricket has that fast bowling all-rounder that plays at 6 or 7, so that they have depth in batting and bowling. They have a number 6 bowling option. They have somebody who could come in and score a quick fire 20-30 off 15-20 balls from the lower order. So it's a good option. Actually, we talked about defending 15 in the last over. That Amir Jamal over is one of my favorite overs, or one of my favorite moments of that series. Just a great all-around performance from him. So I would love to see him back in the squad. I think we're going to talk about the 11 real quick. So I really want to know where you think Abrar Ahmed fits in, and where the hell is Yasir Shah? Like, he's completely gone.
Yeah, I was just looking at the game that happened last year, and Yasir Shah was in the team. Poor fitness, bad work ethics, poor management from PCB has all led to him kind of losing himself, losing his fitness, losing his shape, losing his bowling form. because he was the fastest in Test match history to 200 Test wickets, but he's sort of just died out from the scene. I think Babar did try to carry him for multiple series, but he hasn't performed, as what Yasir Shah standards used to be. And that's why we saw Abrar Ahmed back into the team, sort of a mystery spinner, bamboozled the England team and the New Zealand team in their tours to Pakistan. And I think he's going to do really great in this series for conditions that will support him. And for a Sri Lankan team that has not really seen him ball up close and personal. So Abrar is definitely in my playing 11 that I have prepared here. But there are a few slots that I think there are question marks as to who's going to play, who might be rested out. Because another key player who is back in the team for Pakistan is Shaheen Shah Afridi. Shaheen last played a test match last year in Sri Lanka. That's where he got himself injured, where he was diving for a ball, hurt his knee, and perhaps a life-changing moment for him and for the Pakistan team at the time, because the impacts of that can still be felt to this day. Shaheen has just not been the same bowler ever since his comeback. He's lost pace. His line length is, I wouldn't say super wayward, but it's sort of all over the place.
I don't know about that, man. Like the 4 wickets he took in the first over in the, was it the Vitality Blast or was it one of the county games? I mean, he seems like he's back in good nick. I think what you're talking about is like him losing 5 to 8 clicks right off the top. That is definitely an argument to be made. But even when it's swinging back at 138, 140, that thing is a rocker, man. I don't know if he's lost it. I think he's sort of gained as much momentum as he could. It is a bit scary, it's similar situations, similar dates, similar circumstances. Shaheen going back into Sri Lanka, playing a 2-match test series. World Cup is in 3 months, 4 months. It is scary for sure, but I don't think that'll be about, he's a champion player. I don't think that's going to be on his mind. He's just going to go out there and try to win this thing. I would love to see Shaheen Afridi, Naseem Shah back, the AB for Pakistan with Abrar there as a spinner. Who else you got in your 11 though? I would love to see what the numbering order you have.
Yeah, sure. I will share my 11. But I'm actually genuinely concerned about Shaheen Afridi's workload. Ever since he came back from injury, he played the PSL, he played the New Zealand series, all T20Is, all ODIs. Then he went to England. He's been playing county. He's playing the Vitality Blast. He is now playing this Test match series for Pakistan. And after this, he's going back to England to play in the 100. And then it's just an action-packed few months for Pakistan with the Asia Cup, with a potential series against Afghanistan for ODIs, and then the World Cup, which is a massive, big event. So I'm not sure if the PCB should have given Shaheen Afridi the NOC for going to play these leagues. Maybe he should have spent some more time back home, just doing some more rehab, strength training for his knee. I don't know, maybe he's doing it on the side while he's playing T20s. It's just 4 overs. The 100 is just what he's 20 balls. But yeah, I'm just concerned because my thinking from the time that Shaheen Afridi was decided to be brought back into Pakistan's T20 team for the World Cup was that, is he fit? Why are we risking Shaheen Afridi's 10-year career, a bowler who should take 400 test wickets for Pakistan? Why are we risking his future for a World T20 that's going to come again in 2 years? And because we've played the past 4 or 5 months without Shaheen Afridi, so what's the difference? Why could we have not played with Tahani or Hasnain in the team? So I just think, they've just
he was the difference in that
Shaheen's
final.
spell.
He was definitely the difference in that final against England in the T20 World Cup. Because he bowled like 2.3 overs and he was out. The last 8 balls were bowled by Iftikhar, I believe. Like that's just, you're right that there is definitely a conversation to be had. But the NOC thing you were talking about, giving Shaheen the approval to go play these leagues, I just think that the PCB is confident that Shaheen has recovered. Shaheen is confident that Shaheen has recovered. So they're letting him go out, explore, make sure that he's 100% fit, and then be 100% for the World Cup and the Asia Cup that's coming in about 6 to 8 weeks. So I'm not super worried about this. if anything, it's giving me a little bit more confidence that Shaheen is regular in the cricket. He's getting match practice in. He's playing international cricket. He's playing in international standards, and then we're going to see the best of him very soon.
Cool, fair point. I have a question for you. Who do you think is going to be Pakistan's preferred keeper for this series? I know you're sitting in Karachi, but just Sarfaraz was the man of the match the last game. He was the man of the series the last series. But Rizwan is like your vice captain. So, do you bench your vice captain to play Sarfaraz? Ahmed, what's going on here? Like, give me your thoughts on this.
That's a very good question. I'm actually struggling with this because let's see if Sarfraz makes a spot, right? Let's do the 11 right now. So you got number one Abdullah Shafiq, number two Imam, you got number three Ashan Masood / Hurera, you got number four Babar
Yeah.
Azam, you got number five Saud Shakil, you got number six Salman Ali Agha, you got number seven Rizwan, you got who do you got at eight?
So I think Sarfaraz or Rizwan can play. They both cannot play in the same 11, so they have to go with either one.
Yeah,
I was overhearing Babar talk about that. Just because Rizwan is vice captain does not necessarily mean that he has to play. I think the management is okay with them benching Rizwan and preferring Sarfaraz Ahmed over Rizwan. Actually, I think I overheard Rizwan speak in the last series against New Zealand that he himself volunteered to be benched because he wasn't performing well, and because he knew that Sarfaraz is in better form, and he's more familiar with the Karachi conditions. So it was a bit selfless of him, for the team's sake, offering to bench himself and give Sarfaraz a chance. So I think I would go with Sarfaraz. Just he's a great player of spin, and these are going to be really tough spinning conditions. Sarfaraz has a great sweep shot. He uses his feet and just a solid defense, and somebody who can also take the game on if needed, play at a good strike rate. He does play counter-attacking cricket in test matches. So I would love to have Sarfaraz in the team instead of Rizwan.
you're supporting Safi Ball, I believe. Then,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think Sarfraz will make the 11. Definitely will make the 11. So, because I was listening to Babar Azam's press conference as well, and he was adamant that the VC thing you were talking about, that being a vice captain doesn't necessarily guarantee you a spot in the 11, and that Sarfraz is a talented player. Also, he has a really good repertoire against Sri Lanka. So I think the first test match they'll go with Sarfraz, and I think Sarfraz will deliver. He's trying his best. His fitness looks a lot better than it has in the past couple of years, and he's there to win it. He's a champion player. He's a great captain. He's a good team player as well. I think it'll help Babar sort of guide wherever he gets stuck. So I think Sarfraz in 11 is a good call. And then I just wanted to know who your playing 11 was. I feel like we've been teasing it for the entire podcast, but give me your 1 through 11.
Okay, so number one, Abdullah Shafiq. Number two, Imam ul Haq. Number three, it's going to be either Sean Masood or Herrera. They're probably going to go with Sean Masood the first test, and if he fails, they'll bring in Herrera for the second match and have him debut. Babar Azam, your best batsman, at 4. Saud Shakil at 5. Salman Ali Agha at number 6. Sarfaraz Ahmed at 7. I'm going to have either Hassan Ali or Amir Jamal play at 8. I'm going to have Moeen Ali or Mohammad Nawaz play at 8. I would prefer Moeen Ali just because he's a genuine left arm orthodox spinner.
Yeah, Noman Ali over
and
Mohammad
you
Nawaz, 100%.
Absolutely, because he's just a better spinner, right? And then I would have Naseem Shah at 10 and Abrar at 11. So I'm going in with Abrar and Noman Ali as my spinners, with Agha Salman Ali Agha as a third spin bowling option. And then for my pacers, I have Amir Jamal or Hassan Ali with Naseem Shah. I want to rest Shaheen Shah the first test and maybe bring him in the second test match.
That's actually quite a deep batting order, because even Hassan Ali can bat, Noman Ali can bat, Naseem Shah can bat, allegedly.
Naseem Shah can bat.
Right, so that you're basically you're setting yourself up for any target to be chased down, or any a big score. So I'm okay with that. I think the transition that Shaheen Shah Afridi is making from being a fast bowler to a fast bowling all-rounder is also very impressive, and it should be talked about. I was just listening to his interview about it. the other day. He's really modeling his career after Wasim Akram. So if you have like a Shaheen Shah at 10, 11, you have typically a well-to-do batsman that can come in and give you a quick fire 15, 20 off of 10 or 15. So it's looking good. I don't think they're going to bench Shaheen, if I'm being very honest. I don't think they're going to bench Shaheen. I'm just going to be honest. They're going to make him play at least the first game.
So do you think they're gonna? So instead of me saying Amar Jamal or Hassan at number 8, do you think they're gonna go with Shaheen at number 8?
Yes, but they should go.
Because that would be, I think, a good swap.
Yes, but I think Hassan Ali deserves it. He's been great. Like, even in the practice matches against Sri Lanka just now, he took 3 wickets. So I don't know what the correct answer is, but it's a good problem to have.
Dude, I'm a big Hassan Ali fan in test matches because his test match bowling length is so good. No wonder why the county teams keep calling him back, because he has that impeccable off stump, top of off stump line hitting bowling, and such a repetitive bowling action. Somebody who can bowl all day at decent pace,
and he has,
and who's
in
also
these dead Karachi National Stadium pitches. He's been like, bro, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna board like 35, 40 overs, and I'm gonna really like attack the stumps. And because the thing is, the ball either nips back and you're plumb or bowled, or it nips away and you're getting your keeper and your second and first slip in action. So he's always an exciting bowler to watch in that sense. But he's also dropped a few clicks in pace, I believe. And I don't know if they want to go with the express pace from Naseem and Shaheen off the top, and then have spinners come in and do their thing in the middle. So it'll be an interesting 11. Yeah, it's actually going to be a very interesting 11. They have a lot of options, and I'd love to see what the combination they go with.
Prediction for the series? Do you think is Pakistan winning this 2-0? Are they losing 2-0? Is it going to be a draw again? What do you think?
Man, I tweeted this out from our account on Threads, and I threaded it and I tweeted it. That anything less than 2-0 is unacceptable. You have a top class Pakistani team who is playing in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka barely making it to the World Cup. They're not in their 100%. There should have been 2-0 before last year as well. Maybe that would have made a difference in the WTC's point standings. Maybe not. But that being said, this should be 2-0 or bust. Like anything else is unacceptable. 1-0 is slightly more acceptable. There can be a case for that. But, if you draw the series or lose the series, big question marks on my boy Babar Azam and his captaincy. So anything less than 2-0 is not acceptable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think yeah, same here. I hope it's 2-0, but I think speaking in terms of reality, I think it's going to be another draw series, 1-1, or Sri Lanka winning this 2-0. These are tough conditions. But I'm hoping the boys, a lot of these guys are touring for the second time since last year, so they might be familiar with the conditions, and I hope they adapt better this time around. A funny thing I heard Babar Azam say was that somebody asked him a question that England's playing baseball, they've upped their scoring rate, they're playing more attacking cricket in terms of batting, bowling, field positioning. Is Pakistan going to be doing something similar? And Babar Azam said that yes, they'll be looking to improve their run rate from 3.5 to 4. So if that helps, I think we'll see some more positive attacking cricket from Pakistan.
I mean, that's basically baseball. He just said that he's going to play baseball without playing basketball. Bobber ball. Bobby ball. Yeah, I'm all for Bobby ball, bro. I'm all for that. So I would love to see how that goes forward. One last question before we leave. Who was the last Pakistani bowler to take 400 test wickets?
Wasim Akram. Actually, the only Pakistani bowler who's taken 400 test wickets.
I feel like
414.
we should okay, let's go a little bit lower than that. Who was the last Pakistani bowler to take 300 test wickets?
That is Waqar Younis. He took 3,773.
He's the last one. How many does Danish Kanaria have?
He's the last one. Danish has 262.
Okay, let me just do a quick Google search. I just want to know because it's very important for Pakistanis to know how much investment their test cricketers are actually getting. And is Danish Kanaria formally retired, by the way?
Guys, if anyone listening, if anybody ever says they're a big Pakistan cricket fan, just ask them who the top 5 highest wicket takers for Pakistan are in Test match cricket, and I guarantee you 95% people will not get past top 3.
He has 261 because Danish Canary does. All right,
Yeah.
so give me the top 5 right now.
People forget about Danish. So number 1 is Wasim Akram. Number 2 is Imran Khan. Number 3 is number 2 is 2 and 3 either or is Imran Khan or Waqar Younis. They're both at like 370 or 80. Number 4 is Danish Kunari. Number 5 I believe is Abdul Qadir.
Nope.
Or Yasir Shah.
So I'll give them to you right now. Number 1 is Wasim Akram 414. Number 2 is Waqar Younis 373. Number 1 is Wasim Akram 414. Number 2 is Waqar Younis 373. Number 3 is
Imran Khan at 362.
Imran Khan 362. Best bowling figures of 8 for 58. Legend. Just complete legend. Danish Canaria at 261. So that's a 100 wicket drop off immediately. And then number 5 is Yasir Shah with 244. And number 6 is Abdul Qadir with 236. Your boy Shoaib Akhtar is
number 7 is Saklan Mustaq.
Number 7 is Saklan Mustaq 208. Mustaq Ahmed 185. Your boy Shoaib Akhtar is 178. We forget how amazing Shoaib Akhtar was in tests. We literally forget this. This is insane.
24 average.
Yeah, crazy. 7 for 56 is his best. He has a 10 for.
What's his strike rate? It's like 40 something. Strike 44.
No. Shoaib Akhtar 45. Yeah, 45.74.
45. That's
and
insane.
He has 12 fivers, 10 fours. Like, this is insane. He was a great ridiculous test bowler. Like, we don't talk about that anymore because of his injuries and his ODI spells, but he was insane in Shoaib Akhtar. Like, him and Asif opening for Pakistan against England in that 2005 series was insane. Go watch that, everybody. Yeah, Saeed Ajmal is right after Shoaib Akhtar. Umar Gul is after Sarfaraz Nawaz and Iqbal Qasim. And then I want to see if Shahid Afridi is on this list.
Pretty sure he's not.
Yeah, I doubt it. Shahid Afridi
does he even have 100 wickets?
He has 48.
48.
He has 1 5-er and 1 10-er.
He took a 5-for on his debut, I believe.
Yeah, against Australia, I believe.
There's a big conversation to be had, and this is a podcast of its own, that Pakistan is actually not the land of pacers because the last Pakistani test fast bowler who took 200 wickets or more was Waqar Younis. And, you see Pakistan's top 10 fast, like all-time wickets in tests, and you see like 3 or 4 pacers. And the fact that so many good pacers have come over the years, but we've never really groomed them in becoming great test match fast bowlers. What really baffles me, and what's shocking for me to see, is how much Australians and English players prioritize test cricket. I've seen so many times year over year Mitchell Starc pull his name out of the IPL so he can focus on the Ashes, so he can focus on upcoming series, so he can take a good rest. And I think that's where Pakistani players have their priorities in the wrong place, or it's just the PCB mismanaging them, or it's, you can say, players taking retirement and wanting to play the IPL.
Yeah, knock at Mohammad Amir. Maybe if Amir does join the IPL next year, I might watch it. But well, ending this podcast on a very positive note, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it. If you guys are listening to us on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe. Press the notification icon so you can know when we upload. Comment for a discussion, engagement, whatever you want to call that. Or if you're listening to us on any of the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever you get your podcast from, make sure you guys follow us and rate us a good rating, 5-star.
Yeah, leave us a good review.
If you are listening to us.
It is a free medium. You guys aren't paying anything. So, leaving a review will go a long way. Subscribing, telling your friends, leaving a comment, following us on Instagram, Twitter, Threads. All of that goes actually a very long way for us to keep doing this. We're doing it internationally right now. Bashar is in Canada. I'm in Karachi. So it actually does take a toll on us, keep doing this. But, we love talking about cricket. We love sitting here and listening to your reactions, creating a community. So yeah, thank you all for supporting us. This was Backward Point Podcast, and take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Cheers.
See ya. Bye.